See you later, digital data. It's Rhyme and Reason 511.
There's a rhyme and reason for your life. There's a rhyme and reason why you're...
Hey there, Tony here, and it's another episode of Rhyme and Reason. This is 511. Wow. And before I get started with what I'm talking about with the see you later data kind of stuff, I'm going to let you in on a little mess up. It was my own mess up. This is actually, the third or the fourth attempt at recording this episode, because the first two times, so this is the third time. This is the fourth time, so it was the first three, and you're going, get on with it already. So it doesn't matter, right? It was several times or a few times now that I've tried to record this episode, and it kept messing up. I kept going back and listening, and it was a robot sound where my voice ought to be. And I'm looking at my input. I'm looking at the connections on the board. I'm looking at the sliders. I'm looking at everything. Turns out I didn't have the microphone plugged all the way in. And then when I started it over, even after I plugged it in, that messed with my USB connection, and it still did the sound. So I had to restart, kind of a reset, the whole thing. And here we are. So just to let you know, as professional as you might think I am, and you're probably awestruck over the professionality, even I messed up. As if. Okay, now back to the thing that I was talking about to begin with, the see you later data stuff. And I wanted to start out by talking about how when I was on the road full-time as a professional musician, I wrote a song called See You Later. I didn't say see you later, but, I had to make it rhyme with data. But the song is called See You Later, and I'm actually going to share that in a few minutes. But I'm not talking about that right this second because I want to get into this data stuff, the here today, gone tomorrow world of digital data. And this, is about 10 days ago, I had to say sayonara and so long to a bunch of data. I'm talking about an external hard drive that holds 3 terabytes approximately, and it has, or had, almost 2 terabytes of data on it. And that's a lot of data. There's video files, audio files, books that I've written, all those files, images, just tons and tons of stuff. All my personalized songs for kids. And the saga continues. Something just fell off the desk. Okay, I'm going to leave that in there. That's pretty weird. Okay. Anyway, so all of this decided not to show up for work last week, on the external hard drive. And by show up, I mean when I opened up my laptop, the external hard drive didn't show up. It was not something that I could access. And of course, lesser humans would have just panicked and, cried and all that. But Rhyme and Reason Man was not fazed. Well, maybe fazed, but not fractured. Because I just dived into my disk utility app on my laptop, and I discovered that the external hard drive apparently caught a cold. Or maybe it was a virus. I mean, there's a lot of that going around, maybe you've heard. Anyway, it turns out that something had messed with the hard drive's partitions. And if you don't know what those are, it doesn't matter. It's just kind of the way an external hard drive, or basically even the hard drive on your computer, it separates data and sorts it out so it can deliver it up to you the best way. It's just something that they do inside. Anyway, and all of that was messed up. And the hard drive was actually showing that it had more data on it than it can hold. It's a 3 terabyte hard drive. And it was showing that it had like 3.3 terabytes on there. I'm like, what? It's kind of reminded me of a scene from an old Monty Python movie, which I never saw, but I saw a clip from it. This huge guy goes into a restaurant, and when I say huge, I'm talking almost like hot air balloon size. He sits down, eats and eats and eats, and then it gets to a point, and he says, if I eat another bite, I'll explode. And the waiter or somebody talks him into having that one last bite, and he exploded. It was gross. Anyway, so thankfully my external hard drive didn't explode. And I went into all these repair modes that you can do, but no amount of begging or pleading or banging, which I didn't actually do, but, metaphorically, I was trying to coax that hard drive back to work. It wouldn't work. So I lost all the data I have, and everything I'd ever worked on in my entire life vanished into thin air. Plus, my wife left me, and now I'm sitting here in a gutter somewhere near downtown Loserville, and I'm doing all this with the last few minutes left on the battery of my poor little iPad. Yeah, right. Actually, what I did was I just totally erased my external hard drive. I just erased it. I said, that's it, man. If you're not going to show up, I'm just taking all your data. Yeah, that'll show you. Pretty keen, right? Wait a minute. Where's all my data? Ha, 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 he says again. Well, I backed it up in a Blaze, man. It's actually on my Backblaze cloud backup account. And I think that'll be a link in the show notes. You could go there and back up your own data. You could set up an account there. If you click on that link, that's my affiliate link. It won't cost you anymore. And Backblaze is very affordable, they're not a sponsor, so I'm not making this commercial for them. It's just who I use, and I've used for quite a few years now, and they're great. So all my data is still accessible, but I have to go through this slow, lengthy process, which I've been doing over the past, a week anyway, I have to prep these giant zip files on their site. You can get a hard drive. It costs, a few hundred, and they'll actually, it's kind of like when you go get a battery from the auto parts, they'll ask you for a deposit, and you can get that back if you take your old core back, and they'll give you your money. It's kind of like that, but I don't do that. I just went ahead and started creating some giant zip files, and then I download them to my external hard drive, and then when I get that all set up, then I de-zip or unzip them, and they're back in business again, back on the hard drive. And that's a really cool thing about the digital world. Files they're not really gone for good unless you go out of your way to make sure they are. But you and I, we're not digital. In fact, you're way more analog than you might even imagine. And when you get erased, and you will get erased, there's no man-made way to bring you back. It's see you later.
There's a gray fog hanging over the desert, and there's a red sky slowly turning to blue, and there's a white horse and it's running me homeward, back to the best place on earth that I ever knew. There's a cactus in the shape of a woman, and there's a nighthawk flying circles above, and its eyes catch the last rays of sunlight, and as I look closer I see the heart of a dove. I have been fooled by first words and glances. I thought I could understand everything life had to show, and it's so true, we all want second chances, though no part of our soul is as pure as the fresh driven snow. And so I see you later, see you soon, underneath that mountain moon. I can't tell you how it seems to fulfill my lifelong dreams. So I smile as I cross the dunes. See you later, I'll see you soon.
You like my little see you later segue there? I just kind of abruptly went right into it. Usually I say, I'm going to share this and I'll be right back. But I thought, nah, see you later. That's kind of how my data went, so that's how I went. Just one of those things. Okay, now, like I was saying, when we get erased here on Earth, there's no way to bring us back. It just isn't any man-made way to bring us back. There's no transfers from the clouds, and there's absolutely no return from Nowheresville. You're just gone, finito, it's over. That's it. Unless you decide to make sure you can still go on after everything you are here is all gone, and you trust in your Creator, so when you say see you later, you'll be heading for the everlasting dawn. There you go. That's where you should be heading. And get yourself backed up in the clouds, but you can't do it alone. You're going to need some help, and Backblaze isn't going to be able to help you with this one. This is going to be your Creator. You're going to have to trust that He can back you up, and when He backs you up, the files will never, ever be lost again. All right, that's it for this episode of Rhyme and Reason. Hope you enjoyed my little metaphors and allegories. Thanks so much for tuning in, and remember, this is brought to you by TonyFunderburk.com, where you can go and get that cool T-shirt that says, life has rhyme and reason because God made you.
There's a